Hey guys, and welcome to one more episode of Builder Nation. For today's agenda, we have Clayton Wood, CEO of Picnic Works, an automated pizza station that is transforming the future of food service through innovative automation. So welcome, Clayton. Thank you so much for taking the time. We're super happy to have you here on Builder Nation.
Thanks, Elisa. It's great to be here. My career spans a lot of different industries. Started out in building industry, spent several years in aerospace. In the last 15 years or so, I've been doing startups. And I joined Picnic about 4 years ago. And Picnic is just a fascinating opportunity. We're automating pizza assembly. It's really the future of food service. Huge opportunity, lots of fun technically, lots of fun in the business side, and lots of pizza.
Okay, really interesting. And how does it actually work? Like, I'm really interested. How big is it? How easy is it to assemble? Or maybe like, does anyone need like a specific like introduction in order to make it work?
It's very simple to use. What we've chosen to do is we're actually automating only the assembly of the pizza. So we don't do dough handling and we don't do cooking because those are two things that are really varied pizza operator to pizza operator. It's very specific, but everyone has to assemble their pizza. And the hard problem that we've taken on is we don't just assemble a pizza. Our goal is to assemble any pizza. So any ingredients that the chef wants to use, our goal is to be able to put that in our machine and assemble the pizza to the recipe. So our station starts with a prepared dough, and we like to say we're dough agnostic. So you can use fresh, frozen, par baked, hand tossed, thick, thin, irregular shape, square, round, any size, any shape, any thickness. And you put the dough in the station. We have computer vision reads the size and shape of the dough, and then it moves down a conveyor. And it goes past a series of stations. First station applies sauce, and then cheese, and then fresh sliced pepperoni off of a stick, and then what we call granular toppings, ground sausage, diced vegetables, sliced mushrooms, whatever your toppings you want. And we produce a ready to cook pizza. It can flow right into an oven, or you could take that and wrap it for later cooking. You can buffer it for a big rush hour, whatever you want. And what's unique about our station is that every pizza we make is customized, size, shape, and toppings. And that includes the customer can choose light or heavy or omit any topping you want. So completely customized pizzas, and a single operator can make 100 pizzas an hour, all customized with our station. So it's a very high productivity gain for anyone who's operating a pizza restaurant. And we're seeing a lot of market interest.
Wow, it's really interesting. And like, why pizza? What makes pizza a unique market for this kind of like food service?
Yeah, so the company was really founded on the basis that it was basically us automation engineers looking for a good place to apply automation, and focused on food service, and then focused on pizza because pizza is popular worldwide and pizza's delicious. Why wouldn't you want to automate pizza? It also happens to be a food that is difficult to do consistently. Most of our customers are actually looking for consistency is more important than the labor productivity, because in the food service industry these days, food service jobs, there's been a labor shortage since before the pandemic. It's much worse since the pandemic, but it's very hard to keep workers in the job. Average tenure of a food service worker in the United States is 7 weeks, if you can believe that. So these restaurants are frequently staffed by people who just got there, aren't really trained very highly, and in a rush hour, they get in a hurry. And what happens when you get in a hurry and you're trying to make a pizza? You throw some food around, you get the recipe wrong, you're doing your best, but it's hard, right? And so doing it consistently to a recipe is actually a hard problem. And it's very valuable to the operator to be able to save the food waste, produce a consistent pizza to the recipe, and to do that at high volume. So pizza is a great food to do that with. It also happens to be probably the most popular food on the planet, maybe short of rice, maybe more popular than pizza, but pizza, we've seen interest from all over the world. And so we think we're in a great spot.
I think you are at a great spot, totally. And I know that you are currently in the US and Canada. Are you planning on expanding anytime soon?
As a matter of fact, we're beginning early planning stages. So we're based in Seattle, gigantic market, obviously in the US. We've just signed our first Canadian customers, and there's a lot of interest in Canada. We are going to be going to Europe in the future. We've been talking to some customers in Asia. It's probably about a year away for actual operations internationally, but we have some upcoming announcements that I think will be pretty interesting. Maybe by the time your listeners see this, we will have made some announcements about some European operations.
Oh my God, this is really exciting and amazing. And I mean, my question is like, did you ever plan on running a tech company instead of, I don't know, maybe a restaurant, since it's for food service?
It's interesting. It's a natural question. In fact, the company did consider that before I joined. There was the idea that, okay, we're making pizza. We can do it very economically. In fact, we make pizza every day. Just in doing our R&D, people say, well, you should sell pizza. And the challenge, it's a good idea. It's not a bad idea. And a lot of our competitors have done that. There's other people who are in pizza automation who have actually chosen to sell pizza as their business model. The way I look at it, though, if we sell pizza, even if everybody in the world loves pizza, everybody in the world doesn't love the same pizza. So if you're making pizza and selling pizza, you're selling one pizza. And so your market is automatically smaller. That's one challenge. The other challenge is that you're running a restaurant. You're no longer a technology company. Now you're running a restaurant. And we've seen some other companies do this. Spice is one example. Spice in Boston, they had some great technology with automated woks, and they hired a chef, and they opened a restaurant. They've since been sold, but we don't want to run a restaurant. We want to run a technology company. And so we see so much opportunity to continue to improve the technology. It's such a new industry. It's a brand new industry, really, and so much room to improve. That's really where we want to have our focus.
And who will you say is the biggest client, or how hard was it in order to first get investors and then to get the actual clients? Because it's not like an aerospace, it's not the aerospace industry or something that people are more used to.
That's right. Yeah. So two questions embedded there. First, with the investors, it is interesting because we're not like a lot of other companies. We do offer our station on a service basis. We call it robotics as a service. So the customer doesn't pay any money up front. They're not buying a fancy piece of automation. They're just subscribing to a service. They get to use the hardware and software on a term contract. They pay a monthly fee, no money up front. We try to make it as easy as possible, even for a small business to acquire the station. But that's not SaaS. There's a big piece of hardware involved. There's hardware development. There's the challenges of hardware development, but it's hardware, but it's not IoT. It's not a little device. It's not a consumer product. It doesn't really fit in a lot of these other categories. So there are investors who are moving into this space now, but there are so few companies. It's not really a category that sustains investors by itself. So you've got to find the investors who see the giant opportunity, who are really interested in deep tech, reinventing industrial processes, reinvention of commercial activity. Those kind of investors are very interested in what we're doing. With customers, same problem. No one's ever seen this before. Totally new. It's a classic technology adoption problem where you got to find the innovators and the early adopters first, and then get enough of them to buy it that you can cross the chasm and get people to say, okay, now I've seen it. It's what I call the spaceship in a cornfield problem. It's like, what is that? I've never seen it before. I don't know what it should cost. I don't know what it does. I don't know anybody who has one. I like it, but I'm afraid to buy it. What do I do? It just induces a lot of that. And so what's really exciting at this moment is that we have enough customers happening. We've been making announcements about customers. And so people are coming out of the woodwork saying, I've been watching you for 3 years, and now I see that Texas A&M is using this station. I can see that SeaWorld is using this station. I can see that you're in stadiums and you're in restaurants and you're in university campus dining. If you could do those, I think you could do my operation. And so people are coming out, emerging from the fog and raising their hand and saying, I want one too.
We have talked about the pandemic. how hard was it in order to, I don't know, did you find any critical challenges when it comes to the procurement process? I mean, since you're also building hardware.
Absolutely. Yeah. So before the pandemic, we had just started piloting the fall of 2019. We were piloting at T-Mobile Park, which is a baseball stadium, home of the Seattle Mariners. We also were at Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in early 2020. And both of those were with Sodexo, these opportunities. And so we were like really building up. We had lots of interest from lots of people. We got named to, when we went to CES, we were actually on the show floor making pizza, working for Sodexo. Sodexo was selling pizza slices using our station. We weren't an exhibitor, but we had a giant space because it was Sodexo just reserved the space to sell pizza. And tremendous success. We were surrounded by paparazzi for 4 days. We got named to multiple CES, best of CES lists, and we were just there making pizza with our customer. So it was an exciting time. And then right after, within 60 days of that event, everything shut down. So the Las Vegas Convention Center shut down, T-Mobile Park shut down. There was no baseball, no conventions. So our pilot activity kind of stopped in its tracks at that point. Luckily, that was an early prototype that we were piloting with at that point. So we were doing development of our new production version. So we just kept working. We had the good fortune that we were able to continue working through the pandemic. We had a lot of people working from home. Hardware engineers obviously needed to come in and put their hands on the hardware and continue that work. But through really good practice of contact tracing and limiting the number of people in the office, we got through that we got through that first year with no cases, no positive cases in our company, didn't really lose momentum. And the other interesting thing that happened was, because in food service, all the changes just completely accelerated in the food service world. Everything went to delivery and carry out. Hygiene became an important thing. Limiting the number of people in the kitchen became an important thing. People stopped wanting to work in food service, which became a thing for operators. So all these trends were trends that were operative before the pandemic, but they all accelerated dramatically during the pandemic. So the labor shortage that was before the pandemic, it was 800,000 open food service jobs in the US, predicted to go to 1.5 million by 2025 by the National Restaurant Association. It's 1.5 million now. So that's accelerated tremendously through the pandemic. So the problems are much worse for operators finding workers. And now, of course, you've got other macroeconomic factors that also are not great, but they make our product more valuable. Increasing food costs. Our food waste savings is tremendous. Average pizza restaurant wastes 10% of their food. With our station, you waste less than 2%. So that's an 80% savings on food waste, which can add up to hundreds of dollars a week. It's very expensive to waste the ingredients on the pizza.
Wow, this is really interesting. Like, this is so new to me and so new to the podcast as well. We haven't had any company that is doing what you guys are doing. It's really, really new. Is there any other company who's doing something really similar?
Well, it's really interesting. When you look at when I first joined, I looked at, okay, who else is in food automation? And so there are landscape maps that different columnists will publish. And I saw a landscape map of restaurant technology. And I looked at this chart, and there were probably at least 200 companies listed. And less than 10 of the companies were actually touching food. All the other companies were delivery services or POS systems or kitchen display systems or some kind of IT or software product. Nobody's touching food. The entire point of the industry is to prepare food, and no one was touching food because that's a hard problem. And so, since that time, there's been a number of competitors emerge, but the world of food preparation is so vast. You can do so many different things with food preparation, so many different approaches, that we've seen a number of companies do something sort of similar to what we're doing, but they're figuring out how to prepare a bowl instead of prepare pizza. Well, in my humble opinion, it's harder to prepare a pizza than it is a bowl, because in a bowl you just dump everything in a bowl. You don't need to arrange it or distribute it, or so bowls are easier than pizza. But there are some pizza players out there. Some of them are actually vending machines, pizza vending machines, have actually been around for about 20 years. It's not that really that hard. You can put a prepared pizza in, and you can have 100 pizzas in there, and you put a credit card in and it cooks it. That's kind of the low end. There's some newer entrants who are now, developing a system to build a pizza and sell a pizza in a vending machine type environment, but they're, it's not clear when they're going to be in production. And again, there's people who are making pizza automation and then selling pizza. So,
but you guys are not.
There's a restaurant in Paris called Pazzi where the entire restaurant is automated, and they're robotic arms, and it's like a floor show. You watch them make a pizza, and it's very impressive technology. But at the end of the day, it's a restaurant. It's not a technology company. So we don't really see anyone who is directly doing what we're doing, which is to make the entire pizza from start to finish, any ingredients. And you can, with our station, even though it's the basic station is set up to do sauce, cheese, pepperoni, and 3 other toppings, you can add modules to it. It's configurable. So you can add 1 more module and add 6 more ingredients. And we have customers who want to do that. So we don't know anyone who has that flexibility and that purpose-built system for operators.
A really customized pizza. And I mean, I have like 2 more questions before we say goodbye to our audience, but I have one more that I need to add. Like, aren't you tired of pizza, or do you actually love pizza that much in order to, I don't know, maybe one day arrive at the office and be like, I want to prepare this kind of pizza,
It is one of the perks. We have guests come into the office for demos, and the best part of having someone come in for a demo is they walk in the door and they immediately smell pizza and they get happy. And we get the question, don't you get sick of pizza? How come everyone isn't gaining weight from eating so much pizza? And people our team does not get tired of pizza. And the customers who come through for demos love pizza. We have had a couple of instances where investors have come in and we've demonstrated the system, and we're standing over the pizza that just came out of the oven, and for some dietary reason they can't eat pizza, and they're like, can we go do the meeting in the other room so we don't have to stand here and look at so that could be a problem. If you don't like pizza, then that would be a problem. But our team loves it, and it's a great perk. That we frequently have lots of free pizza left over from testing and demos.
Wow, this is great. I needed to ask you that. I mean, of course, this had to be a question. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. And I mean, last but not least, what will you say it has been the biggest technical challenge that you guys have managed to solve whenever it comes to the company?
I think the biggest technical challenge we have is one that we didn't necessarily anticipate when we started, and that is because we are setting out, we have this ambition to make any pizza. We're handling food. It's one of the reasons that there's so few companies actually dealing with food. Food is really a hard problem to solve. I tell our team, hardware is a hard way to do startups. Automation is a hard segment of hardware, and food automation is a hard thing to automate. So food handles very differently. Even the same food, take cheese. Cheese will behave differently depending on the relative humidity, the age, the way it's cut, the way it's shredded. It'll behave differently, and how it's been handled before it got to the station. And we've seen this where if it's not handled properly before it gets delivered, it can create issues. So just learning how to handle a wide variety of food and how it behaves, how to dose it out in a precise way to get exactly the right amount on the pizza and get it well distributed. That's a really hard problem. So we actually have a whole food science department working on that all the time, testing customer ingredients, expanding the list of ingredients that we have approved. And it's a real barrier to entry for anyone who wants to get into automating pizza. And it's a reason why some other people in pizza automation have chosen to make one pizza. They figured out how to make one kind of pizza with one kind of ingredient, and then it works, and they stop testing others. We're much more ambitious than that.
I'm glad. And I did see the videos on YouTube. It looks amazing. It's like you have counted every slice of pepperoni, every amount of cheese. Everything looks perfect and super neat and super clean and really, really fast. Like, how fast is it in order to make a pizza? How long does it take?
So it's interesting. It takes about a minute to make the first pizza, but the difference between our station and some others is that because it's a conveyor, by the time the first pizza is made, there's multiple other pizzas that are already in progress. So it's not actually the one pizza at a time that is the speed. The speed is the throughput with volume. Early on, when we had our first demo station, it was just a tabletop prototype. And we had some investors over, and we had 26 people in the office, and people are standing around talking. And we said, okay, everybody order their pizza, and then we'll watch the system work. So everybody ordered their pizza, watch the system work. And then just within like 10 minutes, every surface in sight was covered with pizza, because these pizzas just keep coming out. Every few seconds, there's another pizza and another pizza and another pizza. And no one was doing anything. There was no hustle or bustle. There's no ingredients flying. It was just, it's a pizza machine. So these pizzas are just coming out so fast. And that's really the magic of it, is how fast you can make a large quantity of pizza. It's not that you can make one pizza faster than a person. It's that you can make, any quantity much faster than a crew of people can make.
And any type of pizza, because it's not like
and
all
every
of
pizza,
the
exactly, every pizza customer, and so you've limited errors. I could go on.
I'm super excited. Thank you so much. Okay, and the last question, that's it, Clayton. Do you have any advice for future entrepreneurs or engineers starting on the industry?
I would say look carefully at, there's two, I would say the two things to look at in food automation specifically. There's some really cool technology doing some advanced things with food, and that's always good. But advanced technology, as we all know, isn't enough to make a good business. Look hard at what business choices the company is making, and choose a company that's got a smart business plan. We see, there's a graveyard of companies that have started in this industry and then failed because they weren't, they didn't make the right choices about how to go to business, how much challenge to take on, who to sell to, how to sell. There's a lot of ways to go wrong in any business, and this isn't any different. So cool technology and working with food is a lot of fun, but choose the right business to work in.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here, for sharing your advice, your experiences. Where can we find you? Where can people find Picnic? I don't know, any social media handles?
Absolutely. So our website is picnicworks.com, and we are on Twitter at Picnic News. We also do a lot of LinkedIn releases and information, also at Picnic News. And you can find me at CDub on Twitter.
Amazing. And thank you so much. Remember, guys, that you can also find more information, interesting articles, interesting interviews like this one with Clayton directly on our website, controlhub.com/builder-nation. We would love to hear from you. And once again, Clayton, thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing these amazing experiences with us.
Thanks so much, Elisa. It's been fun.